Why does my body feel like it's betraying me even when every test says I'm fine? It's a question people type into search bars late at night, when the house is quiet, when the pain flares again, when the anxiety hums just beneath the ribs. You've seen the doctors, you've tried the medications, you've read the articles on stress, inflammation, chronic pain, autoimmune flares, burnout, insomnia. You've been told to relax, to exercise more, to worry less, and yet your back still aches. Your jaw still tightens. Your chest still tightens when the email notification dings. Your stomach knots before meetings. Your mind refuses to settle. It can begin to feel like a private failure, like you're missing some hidden instruction manual for being human. In 1990, a molecular biologist named Jon Kabat-Zinn gathered people who felt this way: patients with chronic pain, people overwhelmed by illness, individuals who had tried everything and were still suffering. He didn't promise cures. He didn't dismiss their symptoms. Instead, he offered something that sounded almost too simple to matter. Pay attention, on purpose, without judging what you find. The work that emerged from that experiment became known as full catastrophe living. The title itself is revealing. It doesn't promise a tidy life. It acknowledges the mess, the full catastrophe: bills, diagnoses, family tension, aging joints, restless nights, a mind that won't turn off. Most of us are trying to outrun that catastrophe. We manage it, we distract from it, we scroll through it, we brace ourselves against it. But what if some of the suffering isn't coming from the symptoms alone, but from the war we're waging against them? That idea can be unsettling. It can even sound dismissive at first. If my pain is real, are you saying it's all in my head? No. The pain is real. The fatigue is real. The racing thoughts are real. What Kabat-Zinn noticed, working inside a hospital clinic, is that the body and mind are not separate departments. They are a single system. Stress doesn't just live in thoughts. It tightens muscles, alters breathing, changes immune signaling, shifts hormones, keeps the nervous system on alert long after the threat has passed. We search for answers like, how do I reduce inflammation naturally? How do I calm my nervous system? Why does my chronic pain get worse when I'm stressed? The answers are rarely one-dimensional. One under-the-radar insight from this work is that pain has two layers. There is the physical sensation, and then there is the resistance to that sensation, the flinch, the story, the this shouldn't be happening, the fear that it will never end. That second layer can amplify the first, not because you're weak, not because you're imagining it, but because the nervous system listens to the stories we tell about our own experience. When we tighten against pain, the body often tightens back. Another insight feels almost radical in a culture obsessed with fixing. You are not broken. This doesn't mean nothing needs attention. It doesn't mean you avoid treatment. It doesn't mean you ignore medical care. It means your body may be responding exactly as bodies do when under strain. The sleeplessness, the irritability, the shallow breathing, the digestive upset. These are not moral failures. They are signals. Full catastrophe. Living reframes health not as the absence of symptoms, but as the ability to relate differently to them. That distinction is subtle, but powerful. Because if health is only about eliminating discomfort, then anyone living with chronic illness or ongoing stress is permanently disqualified. But if health includes awareness, stability of attention, the ability to notice without immediately reacting, then even in the middle of difficulty, something steadier is possible. A third insight rarely discussed in quick summaries: mindfulness is not about relaxation. It's about reality. Sometimes paying attention will feel calming. Other times it will feel raw. You might notice how exhausted you actually are, how tense your shoulders stay all day, how often your thoughts jump to worst-case scenarios. This is not self-criticism. It's observation. And observation done gently changes the system. When you sit and notice your breathing, you begin to see how rarely you inhabit your own body. When you scan through your muscles, you discover how much unconscious bracing you carry. When you watch a difficult thought come and go, you realize it is not permanent. Over time, that shift alters the stress response. Research that followed Kabat-Zinn's early work has explored effects on blood pressure, immune markers, anxiety, depression, chronic pain outcomes. The findings are nuanced, not magic, not universal, but meaningful. What's striking is not just symptom change, it's relationship change. People report feeling less at war with themselves, less frightened by their own sensations, less trapped by racing thoughts. For someone typing, "Why can't I calm down?" or "How do I stop feeling overwhelmed all the time?" This matters because sometimes the goal is not to stop the storm, it's to learn how not to be swept away by it. There is also a systems layer here. We live in a culture that rewards urgency, multitasking, constant availability, productivity measured in output, not presence. The body, however, evolved for cycles: alertness followed by rest, effort followed by recovery. When those cycles collapse, the stress response becomes chronic. The question shifts from "what's wrong with me?" to "what conditions am I living in?" That reframing restores a measure of dignity. It acknowledges that burnout, chronic stress, and stress-related illness are not just personal weaknesses. They are shaped by environments, by work culture, by financial pressure, by caregiving demands. Mindfulness in this context is not an escape from reality. It is a way of seeing it clearly. In full catastrophe living, the practices are simple: breathing awareness, body scans, gentle movement, sitting with discomfort without immediately fleeing it. Simple does not mean easy. It requires patience in a world built on speed. It requires curiosity when the reflex is judgment. But something begins to shift when you realize you can observe pain without being consumed by it, that you can feel anxiety rise and fall like a wave, that you can notice anger without immediately acting on it. Agency returns quietly, not the loud agency of "I fixed everything," but the steady agency of "I can meet this moment." For the overwhelmed adult searching for clarity, that may be the deeper answer. Not a new supplement, not a perfect morning routine, not a guarantee of symptom-free living, but a different relationship to experience. You are not required to like the full catastrophe. You are not asked to celebrate it, only to stop pretending it isn't there, to sit down, even briefly, and notice what is actually happening in your body and mind, to feel your feet on the floor, your breath entering and leaving, the hum of your nervous system slowly recalibrating. Health, in this view, is not a finish line. It is an ongoing conversation between you and your own experience. And conversations, unlike battles, allow listening. In that listening, something settles. Not because the world has changed overnight, but because you are no longer fighting every sensation as an enemy. Late at night, when the question rises again, "Why do I feel this way?" you may not have a perfect answer, but you might have a steadier posture, a breath, a pause, a recognition that your body is not betraying you. It is communicating, and for the first time in a long while, you are listening.